guys, and Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays to all of you that celebrate this time of year. I cannot believe that for us here in Germany, tomorrow on the Christmas Eve, that it's Christmas here. We're really excited in this house. So today is the 23rd. And we woke up bright and early. We started our morning eating some apple crisp that I made a couple of nights ago. We had some friends over and I made a really yummy chicken enchilada and then some apple crisp for dessert, just because it's nice and warm and cozy and quite festive with the cinnamon and nutmeg in the apple crisp. And so we enjoyed that for breakfast this morning, along with our coffee or tea or milk for Elodie. And then we went to her advent calendar and she picked out her little sweet for the day. And it's really nice. I feel like the advent calendar has worked so well for us because then Elodie really knows, how much time she has left until der Weihnachtsmann or Santa Claus is coming. And so now when she looks at it, she sees one more sweet left in her advent calendar and she knows, there's one more day until I get to see Santa Claus. And so tomorrow morning we will drive off to Robert's parents' house. They live about 2 hours away from us, but I'm kind of looking forward to the drive because I've just been so busy since I really started taking on a homespun house. And I haven't had so much time for, just kind of free knitting. I've been doing a lot of pattern designing lately, especially with my mittens that just came out. You guys have already seen these in the last episode, but I've been really pleased and happy and excited with the feedback that all of you have given me on my mitten design. So this is foraging. It is knit out of Wool and Vine yarn. It's in her footsie base. I'm not sure if Kristen offers that base anymore, but it's in her footsie base, and this is in the Molly's Teacup colorway, and it's just a one-of-a-kind colorway that was dyed up special for me, and I thought it would just be beautiful with those mittens. So yeah, and so now I'm working on my shawl, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. And yeah, so I'm just excited to have those 2 hours where I can't design, I can't be writing up notes on the computer, and it's just some total free form fun knitting, which I have, had time to do some of that, of course. But yeah, so we'll drive to Robert's parents' house and we'll arrive there, I don't know, sometime early in the afternoon before lunch. And then we'll all have a nice lunch together. And then we think that we'll go to the really old church where Robert's parents live. It is actually the church where Martin Luther, his wife, who was a nun at the time, where she lived. So it's a really neat, beautiful, old historical church. And I've been to a couple Christmas services here in Germany, and it's just really fun. I really love the old German hymns, and I think it's just a special, feeling listening to that and having everyone together singing all of these beautiful hymns at Christmas time. And so we'll probably go and do that after lunch, or we'll take a nap depending upon how exhausted Elodie is. And then while we're gone, or while we're napping, all of the presents will be put under the tree. So in the afternoon tomorrow on the 24th. And then when we arrive or when we wake up, Santa Claus will come. And Elodie will actually get to see him. It was the same last year. He came and she saw him. One of us said, "Oh my goodness, we see Santa Claus." And then we all went to the window and Santa Claus came. Maybe Santa Claus came walking outside, and then he came to the door and then he came in. And it's quite common that the children will sing a song for Santa Claus, and then he presents them with a special gift and their gifts from a sack, of course. And Elodie didn't do that. She was pretty little last year. She had just turned 2. And this year she's learning Hänsel und Gretel. And it's such a sweet song. And Lied is song in German. It is such a sweet song. And I love listening to her little voice sing the song. It is just adorable. And I think I will probably cry when she sings it. Because I remember when I was an au pair, even here in Germany, and one of the boys that I watched sang Schneeflöckchen, and I remember my eyes started to water because it was just the sweetest little thing. Yeah, so she will sing a song, either Hänsel und Gretel or Schneeflöckchen, whatever, you know, she kind of wants to sing. She might even sing Old Toy Trains, which is a favorite of mine from when I was little, by Raffi. I loved the Raffi Christmas CD with Petit Papa Noel and Must Be Santa. Of course, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and just a lot of really, really fun ones. Yeah, so then Santa will come, and she wasn't afraid of him at all last year. She was quite in awe and shock and just amazement. And I'm really curious how it is this year. We will be there, our family will be there, Robert's sister and her family and their 2 children will be there, his aunt and uncle, his uncle will play Santa Claus. We don't see him that often, so there is no way Elodie will even recognize him. We probably see them twice a year or 3 times a year. And who else will be there? Yeah, his aunt, uncle, his grandmother will be there. So it will be a full house, which is very, very normal by Robert's parents' house. It is not often that it is just our family visiting. They definitely like to entertain and have people over. And it's very, very homey. I'm sure those of you who, you know, have been watching the podcast for a while and have seen little footage of their house or seen pictures on Instagram, they just have the most beautiful house. Just really cozy. And I think there are 5 bedrooms, so it can fit quite a bit of people. And I need a little bit of tea. My throat is a bit dry. And yeah, so it'll be really fun. And then we'll just kind of have a relaxing dinner. And then we'll put the children to bed in the evening. And then we'll stay awake playing games, and just that's kind of when the craziness begins, because we're usually up. I don't know how it will be this year because I'm pregnant and it's hard for me to stay up quite late, although, especially when I'm waking up, you know, at 7 in the morning for Elodie. But we've been staying up until 12:30, which I know isn't that late, but when you're pregnant and have children and are working all day, it can be exhausting, especially with the pregnancy. Just, you know, hanging out and talking and playing games and watching TV sometimes. We just finished Game of Thrones. But yeah, so they'll stay awake, and me too, hopefully. I will as well, playing games. And then the 25th, we'll keep part of my tradition, which is opening our stockings. And when I was little, we always kind of had you could call it the more important gifts in our stocking, or the gifts that we really, really hoped for, or wished for, or wrote Santa for, were in our stocking quite often. And when we were really little, our stockings were in the living room by the tree, and as we got older, our stockings were at the foot of our bed. And the reason for this was because, and this is what I imagine now, is because you know, we would get up quite early in excitement, and we would then be able to open our stockings, because as we got older, we were allowed to open our stockings together, and we didn't have to wake up our parents, whereas of course we couldn't go to the tree and start opening our gifts. But it made it maybe easier for our parents that we were kind of they didn't have to wake up so early. Although I guess generally speaking, they would hear us awake with giddy and excitement, opening our stockings, and then come into the room, you know, and say, "Has Santa Claus come to visit?" And of course he had. And so here are our stockings. I have mine, and these two of them have been knit by my grandma, and then the other one was either knit by my great-grandma Ruby or my Aunt Ethel. I'm almost positive it was knit by my great-grandma Ruby. And that's Elodie's. I know in a previous podcast I said that my grandma Sue knit Elodie a stocking, and she actually did intend to, but then she found a really special stocking and wanted to give that one to Elodie. So I will share that one with you guys last. So this is mine. I've had this ever since I was maybe ever since I was born. I mean, it's the only stocking I can ever remember. And when I see pictures, it's the only stocking I see. So it is just a beautiful Fair Isle stocking with the boy and the girl and the hearts, the geese, the hearts again, and then the pine trees. I treasure this stocking. I love it. It is, of course, something I will always have, and will be passed down, I hope. So this is mine. And then my grandma knit one for Robert, which is really special. My sister has the same exact one as I do. We both have matching stockings. And this is Robert's. His is a bit more of a deep evergreen. His colors are a lot more rich than mine, and he just has the hearts and the pine trees. My grandma, I know when she was younger than she is now, and she had, you know, kind of more when she had children, and she was really, really in just a creative state of mind. She was a lot more adventurous in her knitting. She knit, you know, the Scandinavian sweaters, I think for all of her children, and definitely more than one for herself. My mom has a couple of them. There's one that I wore when I visited them in September quite often. I dearly wanted to take it home with me, but I didn't have any space in my suitcase. It was green and I think a cream. It was really, really pretty. And it's funny because when you look at, you know, my stocking, it has all of this Fair Isle, and then Robert's, it slowly gets less and less. And now, I think a lot of the stockings that she's knitting, because when I visited in September, I talked about that she was working on a stocking. I think she just is doing a bar of one thing of Fair Isle. But I know that she really, really loves doing Fair Isle. And I've never, ever knit a stocking. I would love to, but we'll see. We'll see if I ever knit one. My grandma has the cutest pattern of a cat stocking, and it is, oh my goodness, it is the sweetest thing ever. So this is Elodie's stocking, and I really love this with the yellow and the deep gray, just kind of natural wool looking color. And then there are little bells at the bottom, and I really, really like that touch. I've never really seen that on a handmade stocking, as, you know, obvious kind of as it is, but it's really nice. So here is kind of the same sort of design as what my grandma had on mine, but she just has the little girls in dresses. And then the star, you know, that traditional Scandinavian star. And then here she has the boys. And I wonder if my grandma sort of copied this design from her mom. I'm pretty sure it's from her mother, as she calls her mother. The pine trees, which as well are different. My grandma had her own take on them. And then the little snowflakes, and then the little jingle bell toe. So this is Elodie's. Adorable. I love it. I'm so excited to fill Robert's and Elodie's on Christmas morning. And it's really funny because there is a certain gift that Robert really, really wants. And naturally I have it for him, as a good wife should. And I'm not going to give it to him on Christmas, you know, on Christmas Eve when they celebrate Christmas. I'm going to give it to him in his stocking. My, you know, Christmas from what I've known since I've been little on the 25th, I'll give it to him that morning. And I'm kind of hoping, I know it's terrible of me, but I'm kind of hoping that he kind of wonders if he's getting it. I think he'll kind of give up on the idea and think he's not. So, I have some new, not new to me really, but although this is new because you get a new Advent wreath every year if you're using real evergreen. And this is the one that we have this year, and Elodie, Robert, and I all picked it out together. I really like traditional Christmas colors. I really like just the red and green. Those are my favorite. I've never really been into the blues or the silvers or the pinks. I really, really just like very traditional red and green. I think those things definitely have their place, don't get me wrong. It's hard to say. There are times when I really, really love the blue, but generally speaking, I like red and green. So here's this one that we picked out together, and I would bring it over, but the candles are lit, and I don't want to spill the wax because it's been lit since this morning. We often have these lit the second Elodie comes home from Kita, and then in the morning before she leaves. You can see the candles are kind of all different lengths. Obviously because one's knit on the first Advent, second, third, and fourth. And it's decorated really beautifully. So here is kind of the pine, like, you know, an American wreath would have. And then there are some berries, a really sweet little deer, Santa, some pine cones, apples, cinnamon is everywhere, and then some little wrapped gifts and some ribbon. And then it's sprinkled with some gold on top of it. And I really love this. It's lasted 4 weeks. We got it for the first Advent, and I just love it. It sits on our table along with a fresh plant of berries, and then our little candle pyramid, and then a couple of other angels holding candles. And over here I have my smoking man, which looks like he's all finished smoking. So this is one of ours. I really like this one. This is an old one from the DDR. It says it's an original Erzgebirge Räuchermännchen, and I really like him. I love the color of him. I just love the simplicity of him, and his hair is so nice and soft. I wouldn't be surprised if it was real, like bunny or Angora, or yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But this is him. He's finished smoking for the day. I wish I had my lighter because I still have a cone behind him. These are my apple cinnamon cones. And if you guys know me, I like anything cinnamon. I just adore it. And then here I have this one. So this was purchased by Robert's mom for Elodie. She just thought it's a fun one for her to look at, because it is. It's really sweet with the tree and the teddy. Looks like one of Teddy's ears have fallen off. Here, let's turn it. Maybe you can see it better that way. Some presents. Just sweet. Just nice for a little child, and for me, of course. They're really nice and well made with the wooden. I love them. yeah, we have a lot more Christmas decorations everywhere. The advent calendar that we're using, like I mentioned, I have two. One of them was my mom's when she was little, and then mine, and now Elodie's. So that's very, very special. I have some pictures hanging up, some old wooden vintage Christmas photos that were painted. Just lots of really fun stuff, as much as I can fit onto the empty shelves. Doing any Christmas knitting anymore. I haven't knit any gifts for anyone. I gifted some hand knits to my mom, but other than that, nobody. I did go ahead and fix Elodie's mittens finally. I had seriously been feeling so guilty about this because every time she would go to put her mittens on, they were too big. And I didn't want to fix them because I have already fixed them twice. You know, I knit them the first time. There were those ridiculous lobster claws. I ripped them out, closed up the ends again, and I thought that they were completely fine. I really, really did. And then we went to put them on, and Robert was like, these are way too big again. You know, she can't really move her hands around. She doesn't really want to wear them as much. She still definitely wore them because there were days that it was really cold outside. Not cold enough for snow. But she definitely needed them. And so finally this morning, I was looking for something to knit, and Robert was like, why don't you just close up those mittens of Elodie's? And I thought, I should. I totally should. You know, I'm spending time here looking for something to knit, and Elodie's mittens desperately need to be closed up. I've been talking about it, thinking about it, telling Elodie even that I'm going to close them up because she's been asking, and I've been saying, I'll close them up, you know, next time when you come home from Kita or whatever. And I haven't, which has made me feel kind of terrible. And so finally this morning when he said that, I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. They need to be done. So she put her hand in. I ripped it all the way out until, you know, this top part of her middle finger. And then I closed them up. It was just 5 more rounds of knitting. And that was it. So I still have the ends to weave in now. Here's all of that little noodliness. And they are fine. They are perfect. I'm quite sure I don't have to rip out the thumbs. When she tried them on, it seemed fine. And I really hope that now they're really comfy for her and she can move her hands around and she can play easier in them. She never complained about them when they were on, which is just the nicest thing. She often, you know, said, I need to put my mittens on, I need to put my mittens on when we were outside. But we both knew, Robert and I, that they needed to be shortened. Yeah. And she's been wearing them a lot. We went to the Casvela Theater, which is just a fantastic puppet show with really old handmade puppets. Gorgeous, really beautiful. On Sunday for the 4th Advent with some of our friends and their daughter, one of Elodie's best friends. and we saw the puppet show. It was a Christmas show where Kasper was looking for Santa Claus, and he needed to find him, and it was just a really funny story. All of the children were, you know, screaming and giving feedback to the puppet, helping him and giggling and laughing, and it was really interactive. And Elodie was really into it, and her friend was really into it, and I know she really, really loved it. Since we've been, she's asked a couple of times if we can go back again, and we will definitely make it a lot more of a habit, because it's €15 for the family, so it's €5 per person, and it's just a fun, really fun time together. It's about an hour's worth of time, you know, and she just really enjoyed it, and so I think it's something that we will probably do in January. Go and see Hansel and Gretel, Hansel and Gretel, because she's really into that. It's kind of disturbing, but when she sings it afterwards, she talks about how terrible the witch is, because, you know, she's pushing the children into the fire and eating them. And I just think, how does she not think this is incredibly disturbing? But she doesn't. She doesn't, you know, she doesn't really comment on it at all. If you ask her about the witch, she just says, yeah, she eats the children. Craziness. Craziness. The Germans, they really keep those stories in there, you know. Like when Robert's dad is telling Elodie the story of Little Red Riding Hood, he really tells her the real story, you know, where the wolf eats the grandmother, and then, you know, she gets cut out of his belly, and she isn't, you know, it's just a story for her, and she enjoys it. And Robert's dad is, he is obsessed with all of the Brothers Grimm fairy tales, and they're called Märchen. I've talked about that, and that's really a traditional German thing to watch at Christmas, and it's like I mentioned, Robert's dad will definitely have that on the television come Christmas Day, and he really enjoys them. He knows all the stories so well, and just loves to tell them to Elodie, and I think that's a really special thing that they have together, those fairy tales that he can share with her. So I'm really happy that I finished those mittens. You guys, I finished my spiral blanket of awesomeness. I posted just kind of a terrible picture of it on Instagram, just showing the colors that I've already shown you. And I asked if you guys thought it was a boy or girl, and it seemed like the general outcome was boy, because we did indeed find out at our ultrasound if we're having a boy or girl. And we are having a girl. We're having another little girl. So I added some, it's really kind of like a grayish pink, and then this red, this ruby red. Because we actually play with naming her Ruby. We're not sure, it's just kind of a name that we're throwing out there. But as I mentioned, Ruby, who knit Elodie's stocking, I think, is my great-grandmother's name. And I think family names are really important, which is why Elodie is named after my grandma Sue, Elodie Sue. And I kind of, in a way, I'm very, very curious about my grandma Ruby, and my grandma Bakken, my grandma Sue, has often told me that I'm very similar to her. And I've heard that from my mom as well a couple of times. I think I've mentioned before that my mom sometimes jokes that I'm her reincarnated. But yeah, so that's a name that we play with. There are, you know, a couple of names. We haven't really thought on it so much, just because we just, you know, found out a week ago that we're having a girl. Not even a week ago. So here's the blanket. It's finished. It's hard to show because it is circular, and I did do the picot edging It's really soft because the general fiber in this is our cashmere blends. A lot of them are MCNs, I think, except for 3 of them. The final one, I put a glitter yarn. This is Lene. Ooh, I do not remember this colorway. But, yeah. No idea. Coral, or I really have no idea. So this is kind of the way that it looks. Like I mentioned, it's really hard to show. It's big. I have it on my lap and it's covering my belly, you know, all the way down to my ankles almost. And it's really cozy. I know that the little baby will love it. And Elodie came home from Kita yesterday while it was blocking, and she said, "Oh, Mommy, that's so pretty." And then she kind of wanted to grab it and play with it, and I was like, "No, no, 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 wait, it has to dry." So then this morning when she woke up, she was really excited that it was dry, and she put it on her back, and she said it's her Elsa from Frozen, her Elsa cape. And so I let her play with it. I'm not going to put it away for the baby. I think it's nice if it gets some love, if the baby's blanket gets some love from her older sister Elodie, and Elodie can put some memories, some of her own memories into it before our new baby girl is born. And Robert kind of said that I should have a blanket for Elodie. So I thought about making another one of these blankets for Elodie now, one that she can, you know, just sit with and put on her lap. I don't know. I'll see how much interest she has in this blanket, and maybe she becomes so obsessed with it that it, you know, is hers. But I don't think that will happen. I think she will, you know, be able to play with it until our little girl is born, and then it will become our new little girl's blanket. And I really like it. Every one of these yarns has been sent to me by a viewer except for this ending yarn from Lene, which I got myself. And I believe so. Yep, all of them are. Oh, and this one. And this, which is the Squash Blossom colorway from Decadently Divine Yarn Company. And but that was also a special one because I designed my Whispering Pines shawl on that yarn. So I love this blanket. I'm really, really happy with the outcome. Thank you so much, Sarah of the O-Loops podcast, because she's the reason why I knit this blanket. She said that it was a pattern that she knit, or the Fiber by Design podcast, their yarn company is called O-Loops. And yeah, she's said that this is a blanket that she really often knits. I watched a couple of podcasts where she showed, you know, some of these blankets that she knit for babies, and I just fell in love with it. I loved the circle shape. I loved the eyelets, how it kind of spiraled. And I was just really on a kick of these magic cakes. And just adding random color together. Well, this wasn't so random. You guys know that I went through a process of picking out each color. Hey, this is my Grandma Ruby's tea set. Or, you know, it's nothing really fancy, but I really like it because it's quite a large teacup in comparison to a lot of the other ones that I own. And a lot of the ones that you purchase. They're generally a bit more dainty. So that was my Grandma Ruby's everyday set that she used. I have a plate, and I really like them. It gets used often enough, but yeah, so today's kind of like a Grandma Ruby episode, a little bit. I worked a lot on this. So this was my main thing that I worked on this week. In the end, I think I had almost 600 stitches on the needles. So imagine 600 stitches in Pico Bind Off. Yeah, that took a really long time. I think I did it over the course of one afternoon. I did a little in the night when Robert was putting Elodie to bed, and then I finished it off one morning after I had done a bit of work and I needed a little break. My back was really hurting, so I finished it off, was so happy, immediately blocked it, and yeah, I love it. I really adore it, like I said. So I've only worked on one other thing, you know, other than the mittens that I showed you in the beginning. And it's just something really new that I cast on. So I have this yarn, which is really beautiful as well, an MCN blend. And I thought about using this for my blanket. It was a really big consideration, but I didn't, obviously. So I decided it would be perfect for a newborn baby hat. And I'm knitting this on size 2.5 needles, and I'm knitting the Baby Aviatrix hat. This is a hat that I love. I knit it for Elodie when she was a newborn. While she was a little baby, I didn't knit it for her while she was in my belly. But I desperately loved this hat, and I knit it in a really, really soft pink, kind of like the pink that I used on the baby spiral blanket of awesomeness, the pinkish gray color. And I added a really, really special Beatrix Potter button that I got from my grandma. And I have 2 of these buttons, thank God. But I added one of them on there because I thought, okay, this hat only needs 1 button. It's, you know, for this really special little baby of ours. And I want to use the special button for it. It's really sweet. It matches the yarn perfect. And I did. I sewed it on, of course, got the hat all ready, put it on her. Oh, it was a dream. It fit perfect. I loved it. I knew that it was going to keep her head really nice and warm. She wore it maybe for 2 weeks or so. And I just thought it was one of the most perfect baby knits. The nicest hat, just perfectly fitting for a newborn. I think often you get gifted newborn hats that are just large or aren't fitting or have little, you know, gaps by the ears where wind can come through. But this wasn't the case. I really adored this hat. And so one day we went to the Galleria, and, you know, we were shopping around. Robert took off her hat, her jacket, whatever. When I remember I was looking at some yarn, and I don't know why we went there exactly, but we were leaving, and we were just about to go out the doors, and we were getting Elodie ready, and I said, "Where is her hat?" And he lost it. He went in the elevator, he looked all around the floor that we were on, and he couldn't find it. So either someone took it then, or it was just lost somewhere completely random. So that was really sad. I was really sad. I never got around to knitting a new hat. I don't know why, but now I'm going to knit one for this little baby. And like I said, I really love this pattern. I'm knitting it on smaller yarn because the smallest, it calls for sport weight yarn in its finest weight, and then I think like 3mm needle or 2.75. But I'm using, of course, a sock weight with a 2.5 because I know that babies' heads are really little, and I know that this will fit our little one when she's born. She'll be born in the end of April, beginning of May, and I know that it will still be somewhat cool enough, you know, that you still want to put a little hat on your baby. And I love the Aviatrix pattern, if you cannot tell. So if you guys are looking for a hat to knit a newborn, I really, really consider it. It's one that I loved. I think it's one that any mother-to-be, father-to-be would really, really love for their child. So I've just got a couple of rows. I think I have 4 rows knit on that. And then again, it's with this really beautiful, it's a self-striping yarn, and I knit my mom a pair of socks out of this, which I think are probably quite luxurious and hopefully well taken care of, because this is really, really nice yarn. I'll work on that probably a little bit today. We're going to go for a little drive today before we go to Robert's parents tomorrow, and maybe I'll pop that in my bag. But generally, when we're in the car for not very long, I don't do any knitting, so we'll see. I also, Kristen, you have really of the Yarngasm podcast just really inspired my drop spindling. I don't know why. She's been drop spindling so much lately. And she's just been drop spindling these little, fibery tribbles, or just little pieces at a time. And I talked about this in my last episode, but I really, really have been enjoying that. And it's just like I mentioned, it's really inspired me when I've seen her with her little bats or little tribbles or just little hanks of her fiber, mostly from Gourmet Stash, which makes me drool. I've never used it before. In the past 2 weeks, I've really been looking on her webpage, and she's updating at 8 p.m., I think, Eastern time, which is, I'm sleeping at that time. And she just has really, what seems to me like really beautiful fiber. But I have a bit of fiber too, so I'm not complaining about my fiber stash. I have a glass jar that is filled with, those little, when you buy yarn, you get little samples, generally speaking, in just a little plastic bag, or when you buy fiber, I'm sorry. And so I went through my little jar and I picked out some fibers. I think I maybe picked out 6, and I spun up singles. I did this last night while Robert was putting Elodie to bed. And I'm spinning this on my Spindle and Fleece handmade spindle. It's 0.6 ounces, and it spins quite nicely. You have to spin it more often than my other spindle, but I think that's because it's quite light. I've never spun with such a light spindle until I was gifted these wonderful ones. And I really enjoy spinning on them. So it's been sitting on my spindle for a while. And today I will give it a 2-ply, and then I will soak it, thwack it a bit, and let it dry. And I have no idea what I'm going to make with this. No idea. I know it won't give me a lot of yardage when this is 2-plied. I really, really, really tried to spin this quite thick. For me, this is pretty thick. Let's see if I can show you guys. For my singles, especially on a drop spindle, I have the tendency to spin really thin, like really thin. When it's plied, it turns out as usually a lace weight. And I desperately wanted to spin something thicker. I don't know what I'll make. If I'll make probably some sort of animal, a bluebird of happiness, or one of those hilarious bunny nuggets. I don't know. I really, really don't know. But I've really, really been enjoying spinning little amounts of different fibers on my drop spindle. So I spun, and it's fun too because you get to try out so many different kinds of fiber. I spun a Tencel silk blend, which was really lovely, a BFL silk, which as well was really lovely. Falkland, I didn't really enjoy that very much. I don't think 100% Falkland is one that I would ever be purchasing. A 100% merino, superwash merino. I really liked the superwash. I liked all of them, generally speaking. The Falkland was okay, don't get me wrong. It just, it's something I would never purchase. But I really loved this last one. This last one was a Tencel Silk Merino blend. It was one Rolag sample from Spin Monkeys, and she makes really lovely Rolags. There must be some bamboo in there. Maybe I'm forgetting. But I enjoyed spinning that Rolag a lot. I think the fiber of that one looks the most beautiful. I also had a blend from Friends in Fiber, and I really like their prep as well. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun to work on. I worked, of course, on my shawl. So here I said I didn't get a lot of knitting done, but really I got quite a bit. So I'm knitting this out of the Aubergine and the Belle colorway by Mrs. Babs. So this is her Yummy base. It's a 3-ply sport weight yarn. And again, I love the tonalness of these colorways. It is, I can understand why Mrs. Babs is so popular, because her yarn is just absolutely stunning, and I love this colorway. This is the Belle. I still have a lot of this left because I think I've knit 4 rows now. So I'm finished with the body of the shawl, and now I am coming up onto the colorway. Here, let me move my coffee out of the way because I don't want to get my yarn in coffee. And so here's kind of where it begins. I don't want to give, obviously, too much away. And I ran out. I have just a little bit left of the Aubergine colorway. And so Mrs. Babs, Jen, is being the most amazing owner, and she is sending me a support skein for my pattern, which I think is just wonderful. I feel honored that she wants to support my pattern, that, you know, I'm knitting with some yarn that I already had. But she wants to support that. I think that's really, really nice. I think it's an awesome thing that indie dyers can do. And I love the yarn. I think it works so perfect in this pattern, and I'm really excited to finish it. So that is going to have to be on hold, which is such a pity, because I really, really wanted to finish this by, you know, the beginning of January. And I could have, because I knew that it is, I know exactly how I want the pattern to be. So as soon as I get that yarn, I will be knitting that up and hopefully finishing it. Then it's, you know, just writing the pattern, which is written as far as I am, but, you know, editing and all of those sort of technical things that you have to do. So I have a couple of bags that are going up in the shop today. Here is this adorable kitty one. I love it. The kitty is just so crazy looking. I have a Bliss bag with some pink gingham fabric. I haven't done a Bliss bag yet in the pink gingham. Oops. This is Here Kitty Kitty. It's falling because it's been ironed. I have a Roar. King of the Jungle. A large one. Lucky Feather. And Windswept. So that is obviously the last update before Christmas. And I haven't decided. Elodie has 2 weeks off of Kita, so I have no idea how much work I'm going to be getting in before the new year. Really just depends with how busy Robert is, how much time he can, you know, take. But I can see that I'm not really getting a lot of things up in the shop. It will be more empty than normal, even though I guess it is quite empty because generally I'm updating the shop and within 1 or 2 days it's empty again. But I have a lot of course, you guys have been noticing, I'm always bringing in new fabrics, which is really fun and really exciting. And I don't think I could ever really buy the same fabric over and over. Usually the amount of fabric that I purchase, I can make 6 bags with that fabric. So if you see a bag that you like, know that there will only ever, at least from my shop, be 6 or so bags made with that fabric. Although there are some fabrics that I buy twice the amount if I have a feeling that it's going to be one that sells really well. But generally speaking, I only buy enough for 6 bags. And I love it. I love sewing the project bags. And I would also, just thinking about this now, I would love your feedback if you guys can think of a special size of bag that you're missing, or something that you would love to see in the shop. I have a lot of really new, cool wooden hand-carved brooches coming into the shop. Really, really neat ones. Just some fun things that will be showing up in the new year, of course. I have my work set out for me, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really excited about it. I will be having just some fun things. I have ordered some fun things. I'll be making some fun things. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the new year. I wonder how much longer I'll be listening to Christmas music. I really, really love Bing Crosby, Burl Ives, Nat King Cole, Rosemary Clooney. Mario Lanza. I like all of that. Just those older Christmas music. I think Bing Crosby and Rosemary Clooney, their Christmas CD is probably my favorite. I really, really love that one. Burl Ives is so nice as well, though. And like I said, I love Raffi. I think it's just because of this childhood nostalgia. I just have a certain feeling when I'm listening to Raffi. And I love I really do love the German Christmas music, you know, from the DDR. I really like the older ones. And I wonder how much longer I'll be listening to that. I wonder. Maybe the 26th will be my last day, or we'll see. We haven't decided how long we're staying at Robert's parents' house. On the 25th, his mom will make a delicious, delicious meal. I think she's making rabbit. Sometimes she makes duck, but generally for Christmas she actually makes rabbit. And we'll have homemade red cabbage. And I don't eat the rabbit. I am so picky about my meat. I don't like anything on a bone. Oh my goodness. It's super disturbing to me. And I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like any fat. I don't like any strings. So I will not be eating any of that. I will be having red cabbage, Klöße, which I adore, gravy, of course, and whatever else is really yummy. I know that there will be chocolate everywhere because his mom always packs up insane amounts of chocolate boxes for us to take home when we're leaving for Christmas. Although I don't know if she'll do that, because this year she didn't make all of her Christmas cookies, which was so strange. Because ever since I have known Robert, she has always either sent with us when we've been there Christmas cookies for St. Nicholas, or sent them in the mail to us, but she didn't do that this year. So I'm wondering what's going on with that. It's about lunchtime here, actually. And we are going to have quite a common German meal, which is boiled potatoes. You just boil them in a little bit of salt water. You don't put anything on them when they come out of the water. You just plop them on your plate and they have enough flavor from the salt in the water. And then scrambled eggs. It's just a big thing of scrambled eggs. And then you put spinach all over it, a lot of spinach sauce. And Elodie loves this. I really like this. Robert really likes it, and that's what I'm making for lunch today. It's quite simple. It doesn't take too long, too much prep, and we love it. It's something nice and warm in our bellies, especially because we're going out this afternoon into the cold, and yeah, it's just, I feel good, but I often am feeling good. And it feels good to feel good. Whoops. I think that means it's time to stop. So I hope all of you have the most wonderful Christmas. I hope that mine is really nice as well. I guess you can never really predict how your Christmas is going to be, what's going to happen with the family, how everyone is going to react, but I'm really excited to, spend time together, listen to Christmas music, have everyone just be in a really cheery, happy, good mood, give everyone the gifts that I've chosen especially for them. I'm mostly, of course, excited to see Elodie and her reactions and her excitement, and just to watch her, And for me, that is definitely what I am really, really looking forward to tomorrow. I'm curious how she will be when she wakes up, how she will feel, if she'll be excited, if she'll think that Santa Claus has already been there. I wonder what she really remembers last year from Christmas. But it's always nice. It's always a good time. It's something that I look forward to every year, as I know a lot of people do. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the experience and the day tomorrow and Thursday. So I wish all of you a very, very Merry Christmas, and I will see you in the new year.